Underneath more papers in the back seat of Dad's car, his handwriting on a clipboard drew me in. I studied each written word on the back of a flyer for a moment, the capital letters mixed with cursive, the arrows and circles and underlines that Dad had written. There was a big coffee stain at the bottom of a corner of one of the flyers. This supplement, record, and view of Dad's day. His to-do list in the form of calls made, follow-ups needed, numbers, names, confirmations he had circled, and reminders were given underlines. At home in the city, I keep the clipboard in my gray duffel bag. I try out Dad's clipboard in front of the bathroom mirror. I feel the rectangle shape of the clipboard around my fingers, the worn edges. I hold the clipboard as though Dad would have, under his arm, aside his coat. I hold it and give a little smile to the mirror, as though I'm at the door, like he would have been, knocking on the door of a homeowner, handing out a flyer for the home improvement company that he had worked for. The clipboard with blotches at the corners, this handheld accessory. It had obviously been tossed in the car, grabbed, overworked, just enough to represent that good things never age. I trace my finger over a few of his notes, the loops and straight lines of each letter. I unclip his business card attached to the clipboard. I believe there was more he wanted to do. The last time I saw him at his home, I never imagined that visit would be the last time I ever saw him. That day he had ripped out of a small notebook a few pages of his writings. These pages from a small notebook are not directed to me or to anyone. It's his fluid thoughts, his mind running. I ponder his urge to write and put to paper these thoughts. And I wonder what else he wanted to write. He writes, "We can conceive of nothingness, but cannot experience it." He writes, "I dread tomorrow and envy the dead, a prisoner of sorrow, no peace in my head." There are many more little quotes throughout these pages. I think about where I was when he wrote these thoughts and look back in my own journals to see where I was when he had written these notes. I have a few other cards from Dad and a stack of letters. After he died, I reread these over and over and over, and I think about time and place a lot while I read them. I imagine him writing them. And I remember for some time, when Dad didn't have a phone, we had exchanged letters as a way to keep in touch. In one of these letters, he wrote, "Time is often our enemy, but the future can't be much worse. We need thoughtful and creative minds to counter the senseless ones who are unthinking and uncreative." He writes about writing and his desire to write more. I plan to write articles and commentaries about life as we know it and what alternatives to the status quo we might employ. I love my father's handwriting. I love how lively it is. It's as though I can hear him talking when I read his words. Anything I have that he wrote suddenly becomes an artifact of his life. It's not only the words that he had written down that seep into my heart, but the where he was, the when he wrote it, as I imagine his pen hitting the paper.